Hi, this is Michael Buffer, and let's get ready for Bayloric TV.
Okay, thanks for stopping by to watch this video. Stiverne versus Alexander Povetkin, or Povetkin versus Stiverne, whichever way you want it. They meet on December the 17th for the WBC interim title. Basically means that the winner becomes the #1 contender to face Deontay Wilder, or I believe Deontay Wilder has to face them next, which in itself is a problem for some boxing fans. And the common consensus, or what a lot of people are saying across social media who talk about this fight, they'll tell you this line: I've seen Stiverne versus Wilder before, I don't want to see it again, so I'm hoping Povetkin wins. So kind of already you've made your mind up before actually watching the component of the two combatants fight. You've already made your mind up because of the Stiverne fight with Wilder. You're thinking, well, I've seen that fight before, I don't want to see it again, and I think Povetkin stands a good chance of beating Wilder. Okay, I understand your way of thinking. However, I would take you back to the time that when Povetkin fought a guy of similar stature with similar height and reach in Klitschko, that Povetkin didn't do very well. You will turn back and say to me, well, you know, Klitschko is a better boxer than Wilder, and I would agree 120% with you. But Klitschko was on the defensive and knocked him down. Now Wilder is quite opposite. He's wild, but if he lands that right hand on you, and if he lands that right hand on Povetkin, similar things could happen. And whereas Povetkin won't, Klitschko didn't take chances, Wilder will, and in that sense, there's always an inevitable knockout waiting for either party between Povetkin and Wilder. Okay, so let's talk about the two combatants for this fight, Alexander Povetkin and Stiverne. Let's start with Alexander Povetkin. He's no spring chicken. If you look at the stats here, he's 37 years old. He's got a record of 30-1, the one defeat coming to Vladimir Klitschko, with 22 knockouts. His last five fights have been 4 wins and 1 loss. Last 10 have been 9 fights and 1 loss. Fights like the orthodox stance. His height is 6'2", similar height to Stiverne, exactly the same height as Stiverne. Reach 75 inches. Stiverne 77 inches. Age 37. Now both of them haven't fought since November last year. So that's something that people need to take into consideration. Now, from Alexander Povetkin's point of view, he hasn't fought since last year. We know that he was due to fight Deontay Wilder. Then it was in Nandrome. He got caught with the whole, wasn't PEDs, was he on PEDs, wasn't he on PEDs? He got banned, he didn't get banned. So there's all that stuff up in the air about Povetkin. The one thing I will say is this, that before Deontay Wilder even travelled to Russia to fight Povetkin, we knew that the fight was going to get cancelled. We knew that fight wouldn't go ahead because it was mentioned 3 or 4 weeks beforehand. Whether Povetkin was set up, I don't know. Whether it was a fact or it was a well-known fact that Povetkin was juicing, I don't know. His performances after the Klitschko fight have been pretty good, apart from Vac, who he stopped, I think it was a cut, was it, or something. Other than that, he knocked out Char, he knocked out Takam, he destroyed Perez. So Povetkin has gone on a winning run, which has been quite destructive. And he's looked bigger in frame, body frame, much more muscular and far more powerful. Bearing in mind, this is the same Povetkin that struggled against Marco Huck. And at that time, Huck is not a great boxer, he's a wild man in sense. And, he was getting caught and getting rocked and badly hurt by Wilder. So, for those people who talk about, Povetkin being this indestructible type of fighter. He got dropped several times by Klitschko, and he got hurt badly by by what's his name? By Huck. That was a cruiserweight. Povetkin throws nice combinations, puts shots to body and head very well. He seems to favour the left hook very much so. If you look at Povetkin, he shots a little short jab and then the left hook to the body, left hook to the head, and then followed over the right hand to follow. Puts his combination together very nice, very fast combinations, sharp, hard combinations Povetkin puts together. I like it from him. Good. Povetkin's one of these guys, though, like a lot of fighters today, they don't mind throwing their shots and putting their punches together, but they are vulnerable themselves to a counter. And Povetkin is definitely vulnerable to counters when he doubles up with his shots or he stays in the pocket and throws 3 or 4 punches. Unlike a Klitschko, he'll throw straight punches and try and keep away from the hooks. And if they're throwing the hooks, they throw it from distance. Povetkin will come up close on you. And there in itself, he leaves himself open to be countered. But he does throw sharp combinations, and he is fast in that sense, with good hand speed and a well-rounded boxer. And you can't knock what he did in the Olympics, a gold medalist. On the flip side, you have Bermane Stiverne. Let's look at Bermane Stiverne and his record. 25 fights, 2 losses, and I think 1 no contest or draw, I'm not sure that is. His streak is 1 fight. He came back and had that fight against Rossi. 4-1. His last 10 fights, 8 fights, 1 loss and probably 1 no contest. Or was it a draw? I don't know there. Probably no contest. Stance orthodox. Height, like I said, exactly the same height as Povetkin. He's got a 2-inch reach advantage. And he's 38 years old, so he's a year older. So none of these guys are spring chickens. Is it their last hurrah in the heavyweight division? I don't know. They're both good fighters. Okay, they're both big men, good fighters. In his last fight, Bermane came into the ring weighing 254 pounds. It didn't look good for him. He got dropped in the first hand by a right hand by Rossi. I spoke to Bermane about it, and he was getting over the fight he had with Wilder. He wasn't particularly up for the fight and demotivated. So Bermane can say what he wants, and this is not be going behind his back. Bermane can say what he wants. The bottom line is he needs to have his mind on the job in Russia, because Povetkin's going to be coming at him, and it's going to be no joke in Russia with the Russians, and that he's going to have his tail behind him with all his fans. He's going to be being roared on. So Bermane can't find excuses. He needs to be on point, and I believe he'll be coming into the ring lighter than 254 pounds. If he's not, he's going to be very slow in the ring. And I believe that Bermane Stiverne needs to be as sharp as possible for this fight, because he has one habit which I'm concerned of, where he drops the left hand, keeps it low as an invitation for punches to come over the top. And Povetkin does have good hand speed. Whether his hands are faster than Bermane remains to be seen. I would say that his hands are faster than Areola. Well, in that sense, it's a danger, because if your hands are faster, you don't get your hands back up fast enough, you can get clipped with shots. And we saw already he's been dropped by Rossi. He also had that fight against Deontay Wilder. We've heard on numerous occasions Bermane suggesting he may have been drugged. We've heard suggesting he was dehydrated. There was no story being made up about what happened to him in the hospital. He was so dehydrated that his blood had turned, or urine had turned brown, and he was on the verge of dying. That's how bad Stiverne was. That's how bad he was in hospital. A lot of people may not be aware of that. And also the fact that during the fight he was so dehydrated that Larry Holmes, the great Larry Holmes, whispered over to Stiverne's team to get water on Stiverne because he could see the signs of dehydration. So that's no joke. Stiverne, having sparred many times in Las Vegas, would have been one to have known the conditions for him to be dehydrated. And he says himself before the fight he wasn't one who drank a lot of water. So whether there was malpractice or not, the bottom line is people remember the last fight, televised fight, which was the Wilder fight. And they saw Wilder at times look like Muhammad Ali in there. And since Wilder's fought Stiverne, he hasn't fought anybody notable, and he hasn't looked great in fights. Yes, he's knocked people out, but people go back to look at the Molina fight. People will go back and look at the Duhaupas fight, and will say, okay, he didn't look great. The Arthur Spilka fight, which I thought he was doing a very good job, Arthur Spilka, until Spilka got caught with that one right hand. You know that Wilder's always got the equalizer, but that doesn't mean he's a very good boxer. He just got the equalizer. Although, give him credit, and let's give Wilder credit here. He did what he had to do to beat Stiverne, which means he needed some boxing skill to do that. If that was a Stiverne that was dehydrated, if that was a Stiverne that was drugged, if that was a Stiverne that really was not operating at 100%, or was operating at 50% or 30% or 20%, and Stiverne was telling us the truth, then we need to kind of look at the Wilder fight and think, okay, so what did he do before that? You had the 2 fights against Areola. People say, okay, he looked good against Areola. Areola was back to beat him. But I have to say that Povetkin is no Areola. Areola has had a habit in the past of coming into fights out of shape. And when he's fighting for the heavyweight championship of the world, he still looked out of shape. In the rematch, he came in and got himself knocked out. Stiverne showing the left hook as his counter shot. It's going to be interesting because both Stiverne and Povetkin love the left hook. But Stiverne can punch with either hand, as with Povetkin. Key point to this fight for me is Stiverne, I believe, in my opinion, is going to go for the knockout. But he's not a natural come forward fighter. Stiverne's style is more to be on the back foot and counter. So if Povetkin said I'm going for the knockout, I find that more believable in a sense because Povetkin's a naturally aggressive fighter. Stiverne is more of a reaction fighter. So what you throw, he'll look at. What you throw, he'll look at, and then make his adjustments. Say, right, you're going to throw a shot here. Let me set a trap here. Bang, I'll catch you. That's how Stiverne fights. Stiverne fights off of reactions. What you do. A reactive fighter. Whereas Povetkin is a probing fighter. He's going to push forward and make his openings through his attacks. So it makes for a very, very good fight. So key to victory for Stiverne. Keep your hands up, man. Keep your hand down, but left hand down by the side is danger signs against a guy who may have faster hands than you, Stiverne. So get your hands up. Don't stay in the ropes too long, especially not in Russia. Because if there's going to be a... Remember from the Demetrius fight where you got stopped and you protested against the stoppage? We don't want an early stoppage in the sense that Povetkin throws a flurry of punches, you might not be totally hurt, and the referee comes in and stops the fight. Because once the referee comes in and puts his arms around you, the fight's over. So we don't, for Stiverne fans, we don't want to see him sitting on the ropes too often and allowing Povetkin to load up a lot of punches. For Povetkin, he's got to be careful when he's loading up his shots that he doesn't stay in the pocket too long for Stiverne and gives plenty of movement. He doesn't stay right in front of Stiverne. Exciting to stay in front of Stiverne, but Stiverne's got the power to knock Povetkin out with either hand. I believe he has. Especially when Povetkin's coming in and Stiverne's to counter, you can walk onto a big one. So Stiverne's only chance in this fight for me is to knock Povetkin out. Povetkin, all he needs to do is stay on his feet, honestly, because if it's close, Povetkin gets the win. Even if it's not close, Povetkin gets the win. So the only way that Stiverne wins this fight is by knockout. I don't see Stiverne win this fight by points. Stiverne has a 2-inch reach advantage. So can he make that 2-inch be 3 or 4 inches? People ask, well, how do you make 2 inches become 4 inches? Well, that's by you stepping back and making the fighter reach. And as he overcommits, then catching them. That's one way of using your reach to your advantage. Is Stiverne going to use that 2-inch? He's going to use it effectively. There's no point standing in the pocket with Povetkin because that reach isn't as effective that way. So a very interesting fight. I can only say the fight this way. I think it's key. Stiverne has to be in the best shape possible. Stiverne has to be sharp. He's got to keep his hands up. So weight's going to be key for Stiverne. He's going to be in good shape. And I don't want to see him coming in 252 pounds. So speed is of the essence for Stiverne. I think he's in pretty good shape heavyweight. We still have to see how he looks after the Deontay Wilder fight. Now, he did take a lot of punches off Deontay Wilder. He got dropped, well, kind of dropped by Deontay Wilder. It wasn't an official knockdown. But Povetkin fans are kind of blind because their man got dropped 3 or 4 times. And that was official by Vladimir Klitschko. So he got dropped 3 or 4 times in that fight. So I know people like to look at Stiverne fight, but open your eyes. Your man got dropped 3 or 4 times in Povetkin, 3 or 4 times by Klitschko. So it's how these guys, since then Povetkin's had more fights and he's been on a good winning run. So Povetkin's got momentum on his side as well, which is a good thing. So that fight's more or less in the back of his mind. For Stiverne now, mentally, has he got rid of those demons from the Wilder fight? Regardless of what the reasons was that he lost the fight, has he got rid of those demons? I know inside of Stiverne there's a burning desire to become heavyweight champion of the world again, and a maybe more burning desire to beat Deontay Wilder. I just hope that his focus is 125% on Povetkin, or not 100% on Povetkin and 25% with Deontay Wilder, because he needs 100%. So my roundup of this is, my preview and prediction goes like this. Stiverne has to win by knockout. Povetkin just has to stay on his feet. Sorry I can't be any clearer than that. I can't really give you an analysis any more than that, because if I can't look back to the Rossi fight because there's no tape of it really. And the last fight I've got is the Wilder fight with Stiverne, and then the Areola fights. So even then he was getting caught in the Areola fights as well. So a year older. Is he a year wiser, Stiverne? Has he learnt from the mistakes he made as champion? Has it made him a better fighter? And as for Povetkin, is it same old, same old? Just stay on your feet, son, and you can get that WBC shot at Wilder. We'll have to wait and see. This has been Ingram Johnson, Valoric TV. Shout out to those people over in Russia and Ukraine who have picked up our interviews with Bermane Stiverne and our interviews with Alexander Usyk. We thank you very much in Ukraine and Russia for translating our interviews and making it available to the public. We really appreciate you and we want to thank you. So I'm just thanking you from the bottom of my heart for your support. And it's going to be a great fight between Povetkin and Stiverne. I'm sure of that. It will not be a ball fight because Povetkin's going to be pushing Stiverne and Stiverne's going to have to be answering back. That's what makes it a great fight. I can't believe this fight is not either a pay-per-view fight or not a free-to-air fight on Box Nation or Sky Sports. If you can bloody watch Joshua versus Molina, then this fight should be up there as well. Those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think of this fight. I'm out of here. Take care.